Welcome back, soldiers. So the first weekend for Battlefield 6 is now officially behind us, and today I'm going to talk about how Battlefield 6 performed over its launch weekend and some important back-end changes DICE just rolled out today to the game. You don't want to miss this news. Also, hit detection issues have been brought up by many people in the community. I'm going to talk about that with a response on this from the dev team as well. And if your game is overly bright, well, you're not alone. I'll be discussing this issue because someone found the cause to this issue, but will DICE fix it soon? And then what about one of the wackiest glitches of them all? Yeah, I'll be talking about this on top of everything else and going over your top comments from the previous video as well. So grab some popcorn, soldiers, because we've got a lot of news to go over in this video. All right, so sound off in the comments down below. How are you all feeling after the launch weekend of Battlefield 6? Let me know in the comments. I had an absolute blast. I played nearly 25 hours. I also squatted up with my bros. We had an absolute blast. There was tons of laughing going on, tons of chaos, and I would have to say that for me personally, the weekend went very well. Now, I know that there were some issues with EA app and then Steam as well. Hopefully those got resolved for some of you who experienced those issues, but overall, I think the positivity around the first weekend is what we got, despite some of these issues. And of course, on top of that, there are weapon balancing issues, some hit detection issues, and other issues as well. And I'll be talking about that in this video. But I think overall, we have to agree that the first weekend was actually very successful. And not only this, they also surpassed their previous record of 700,000 people, and it reached clear up to 747,000 concurrent players, which is absolutely mind-blowing. It shattered previous records for Battlefield, and yes, it even shattered the all-time concurrent record for Call of Duty as well for Steam. So again, this is mind-blowing, and I'm sure the DICE team is celebrating a big time right now, and it's well deserved. I've had a blast with the game. So many good memories already created with it. And yes, I did have to get used to the weapons compared to the beta, of course, because as you know, the beta weapons were like lasers and extremely accurate. And do I miss it a little bit? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I do miss it a little bit, but it is more realistic now with the added recoil. However, I do feel that some weapons have too much recoil and bloom on them, so I do hope they tone that back in the future. We'll see what happens with that, but again, let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. I know that's an ongoing discussion where some people really want to see more recoil, and then some people want to see it more aligned with the beta, where they were like lasers. I'm in the camp of I want it in between the beta fill and what we have now, where it's just a little bit more accurate with a little bit less recoil and a little bit less bloom. So again, sound off in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about that. Now on to the news, starting off with the official Battlefield comms Twitter, who said today, we've rolled out a few backend changes across our servers, which should now be live across all platforms. The changes are as follows: increased ticket count for some maps on the Rush game mode to the intended amount of 100, up from 75, reduced the muzzle velocity of the M2010 ESR from 900 to 800 milliseconds, and then they reduced the muzzle velocity of the PSR from 750 to 720 milliseconds, and then the shotgun projectiles will now take drag into account. So some basic changes there. I think we all want to see even more changes, obviously, and they have confirmed that there will be more changes upcoming, but those are the back-end changes they rolled out today, of course. And now it's time to talk about the hit detection controversy. So this was posted by K Kamikaze, who said, "All right, which one of you loaded up my rifle with blanks?" They posted this video showing basically that their bullets aren't doing hardly any damage. And they said, have this happen a couple of times, but only with the G36. Anyone else? I can kill people fine with the pistol when this happens, so I'm mostly sure it's not just god-awful aim. It's been kind of funny so far, but it's getting less and less so the more it happens. Now, Florian, a developer on the game, responded to this and said, "We're currently investigating this issue. It is commonly observed with the target being visibly hit, blood splatters, but no damage is confirmed in the HUD." So they are aware of this hit detection issue or whatever is going on here. Yes, I have had this happen numerous times, and I'm like, oh man, it is launch weekend. I guess these things are to be expected, so hopefully they do fix them quickly, of course, because there are so many people jumping online, over 747,000 people hitting those servers, so I'm sure there's going to be some issues there, but hopefully they iron them out quickly so that this upcoming weekend does not have as many issues. And speaking of issues, this next one is a pretty big one. I predicted this one would actually gain some major traction over the weekend, and Stoda posted this on Twitter and said, "When do we unlock sunglasses? DICE, please," and posted a video of him on Operation Firestorm showing just how overly bright this game can be under certain conditions. And it seems like Operation Firestorm in particular suffers from this problem the most, where again, under certain conditions, it is just way too bright. When I went into the game the first time and experienced Operation Firestorm, it literally hurt my eyes at certain points. I was like, why is this so freaking bright? And I also posted about this on Twitter as well. Now, OTTR posted this on Twitter about this topic and said Battlefield 6 is currently forcing HDR, causing blown out and impossible to see through conditions for SDR monitors. This needs to be fixed right now. Pick is HDR on versus HDR off. So as you can see, on the left side with HDR on, it's impossible to see out the window. And then on the right side with it off, you can see out the window pretty good. So Battlefield Bulletin went on to post about this as well. I'm not going to read their entire tweet because that'll be redundant, but they did confirm that DICE says they're working on some improvements in this area. So that's very good news that DICE is aware of this and they've already communicated with the community and that they will be working on this issue, because honestly, this is probably my #1 gripe about the game so far, so hopefully they patch this issue very soon. And let's talk about perhaps the most wacky glitch going on in the game right now involving the assault ladder. This was posted by Darth Vicious, who said, "Can we patch this, please?" And it shows how people are kind of like abusing the assault ladder to jump clear across the map or quickly zip across different areas of the map to get the drop on the enemy team. And in response to Darth Vicious's question, "Can we patch this, please?" developer David Serlin confirmed, "We will." So DICE is well aware of this problem and they are working on a patch for this. And another hot topic in the community is weapon progression. I've been watching tons of streams over the weekend and I've seen streamers doing the sniper challenge, trying to unlock that one sniper. And I guess it takes forever. It's the one that requires 200-meter headshot or something like that. I guess the challenge is quite ridiculous and it takes a very long time. Now, Tom Henderson said this: "Weapon progression in a Battlefield 6 definitely needs to be faster. Feels like they've replicated Call of Duty but forgot the scale of the game. It needs to be 40 to 50% faster in my opinion." Now, there's different opinions on this topic. Lucifer the Beast said, "With all due respect, no, it is fine as it is. Let's not turn it into Call of Duty where you are done with everything in a month." So how do you feel about this, guys? Let me know in the comment down below. Do you think the weapon progression is fine as it is? Or do you think it needs to be sped up just a little bit? I think I'm in the camp of where it needs to be sped up just a little bit and that some of these challenges perhaps need to be easier, because as many people pointed out with that particular sniper challenge where you have to get those 200-meter headshots, many of the maps don't even offer this opportunity, so you have to use maps like Firestorm to even complete this challenge. So again, sound off in the comments down below. How does this one make you feel? And then let's talk about this right here, posted by Millie Yet C. Papagon. I hope I said that one right. They said, "DICE, the optics are still very much off. They are too big and do not stand out." And they posted an example of Battlefield 6 compared to a similar game there. So Yeah, this is definitely something I've noticed. They definitely need to brighten the optics on the weapons for sure. And believe it or not, when I played the Call of Duty Black Ops 7 beta, the red dot sight sometimes never even showed up. Like, didn't even work at all. So Battlefield is not the only game having some issues with their optics. So I don't know what's going on with the optics in these first-person shooters, but hopefully they get them correct where they're bright and you can see them more visibly. And let's talk about one of my personal favorite topics, helicopters. Kai posted this and said, "Can you fix the helicopters? Most of the time, my team's helicopters say no connection and have no cooldown while enemies are able to use theirs." David Serlin said, "We're on it." So they're aware of that one as well. And there's been so many times where I've been sitting in the menu and I'm like, why can't I spawn on the helicopter? So it's good to know that I'm not the only one noticing this because, yes, I love my helicopter. Now, Alec H said, "If you alter your weapon during game, I've noticed that when you return to the map screen, that sometimes the cursor is well away outside from the map. I noticed this in the beta too, but we still have this issue even though I reported it." And David said, "Yes, this is a top priority item for me personally, as it is very annoying. Sadly, it seems very hard to fully squash." I've noticed other bugs in the menu. I'm sure this is related to what they're talking about, where if I'm using my mouse to select an objective, all of a sudden my cursor will completely disappear, and then I have to use my keys to move around on the Conquest map menu. So there's definitely some issues with that menu in particular. Now, let's talk about Battlefield Portal, because there's something really cool being made in Battlefield Portal as we speak. The Battlefield Portal posted this: "Work in progress, SOCOM Desert Glory recreation in Battlefield 6 Portal." And as you can see, it's a recreation of SOCOM. And what's really cool about this is not only are they replicating the feel of the game, but it's also third person too. So they're replicating the camera view of SOCOM as well. And I had no idea that you could do third person stuff in Battlefield Portal. So I cannot wait to see what content creators create in Portal. Also, I'm sure many of you Battlefield veterans know this tip already, but the official Battlefield Twitter posted this: "Aim matters, ask the rear plate." And they posted that if you hit the tank in the front with an RPG or rocket, it's only going to do about 293 damage. And then if you hit it from the back, it's going to do a lot more damage. So remember, hit the vehicles from the back any time you get the chance. And now, soldiers, it's time to go over your top comments from the previous video. If you have a comment down below, it may be featured in an upcoming video. So don't forget to leave a comment on this video as well, because you never know if you're going to be featured in an upcoming video. So let's start off with this comment from Connor Duffy, who says, "People need to learn that burst firing, even rapid burst firing, greatly reduces the bloom. This is how Battlefield has always been, and frankly, it's a great balance mechanic for guns. This is not Call of Duty. You can't just hold down the trigger and beam at a distance." And of course, they're referring to the changes from the beta to now, where they've added a lot of recoil to some of the weapons, and I totally agree that the weapons should not be like laser beams, that there should be some skill involved there. But on the other hand, I feel like DICE over-tuned some of the weapons and added way too much recoil to some weapons in particular. So I think this is definitely a weapon-to-weapon case, and I think that DICE does still need to fine-tune some of the weapons to be a little bit more accurate with less bloom. And I know that I'm not the only one complaining about this issue. There's a lot of people that feel the same way, especially when comparing assault rifles to SMGs, where a lot of the SMGs are actually outperforming assault rifles now at a distance, which really does not make any sense. And the next top comment comes from Daikon1323, who says, "Movement feels like Battlefield 4. I think it's perfect." So this is another hot topic as well, because not only did they make changes to the weapons from the beta, but they made some major changes to the movement, nerfing a lot of the jumping and stuff like that that players were doing in the beta. And here's my take on this. I think the movement is perfect so far. I think there were some issues here and there with like the jumping when you're running, but they already corrected that. But I think the movement, it's nearly perfect so far, and I really don't have many complaints. Now, there have been some instances where I'll jump over some rocks and then all of a sudden I'll jump like 5 feet in the air for no reason, and it just makes me laugh when it happens. I'm not sure exactly why that is happening. So there are some little minor issues here and there with the movement, of course, but these are more like bugs I'm talking about. But overall, I think the movement feels great in Battlefield 6. And that's going to do it for the video, soldiers. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button because we have so much more Battlefield 6 stuff to talk about, including the upcoming new DLC maps as well, which will be coming up sooner than later. So a lot of exciting stuff to look forward to. This is Ryan signing off. I will see you all later. Have fun out there in the battlefield.